And our first story, medical officers at the Kumasi Teaching Hospital have described as unusual the disease that has claimed the lives of 4 students of Kumasi Academy. Senior pathologist Dr. Osei Sampene, after initial autopsy on one of the bodies, says doctors are unable to name the disease based on the signs. He says all the bodies exhibited the same signs and believes it might be one of its kind in Ghana. He was speaking on Ishra FM's Kroyi Munsem.
2 separate incidents. First one is in July. And no July, I did all the Afriyie Ankrah, all the children jabbing. But no, we have
for the July incident, I traced all the bodies to take samples. I found out they died of a special type of meningitis caused by a bacterium, Neisseria meningitidis. When I finished with the recent one, I told them it's not usual. All the children followed similar fashion. Their skin had special characteristics, and they all had blood under their eyelids, pointing to a viral infection. It's now sporadic, so it's difficult to detect for now. The symptoms they exhibited earlier are similar to meningitis and malaria. After the findings, I won't be surprised to be something strange in Ghana.
But the fact is that if it is carried outside, I will not be surprised. It might be something that is so strange because you will be there. You are the first active of Ghana, how you are first to discover. You are contagious, highly contagious.
It's highly contagious. The students should have remained in the school. I've exposed myself to the disease. If I'm gone, I've contributed to someone's survival.
Maybe if I'm gone, at least I have been able to contribute for someone's survival.
Now, the Deputy Education Minister, Dr. Osei Educhum, visited the school this morning to personally assess the situation. Joy News' Ohiming Teria was at a press briefing by the minister and joins us on the phone to tell us more. Ohiming, so what came up during the press briefing? Right, Ohiming, we want to find out what came up during that press briefing.
Yes, Daniel, the Deputy Minister of Education, Dr. Osei Educhum, did say that for now, what they are doing now is to secure the children. I'm talking about the students of Kumasi Academy before they look at any other thing, including the closure of Kumasi Academy. But he did say that definitely the school will be closed down. And he also spoke against parents withdrawing the awards from Kumasi Academy, saying that that is not good, that is unfair, because he believes that once there's this condition that can equally affect other people in the community, the best thing to do is to allow the students to stay on campus while health officials take steps to give them medication and also ensure their safety so that they can mingle with other members of the society. And he also said that for now, what the ministry will do is will live with the Ashanti Regional Coordinating Council so that they look at the modality for whether the government could absorb the medical bills and then the funeral cost of those who have passed away.
Right. So what are these steps that he was saying will be taken by health officials?
I think we've mentioned it over and over. One, they are starting with this medication of antibiotics, and after this they'll continue to monitor the situation, and then the health officials say they will scan the confines, the walls of Kumasi Academy, and also beyond the walls, whilst they investigate this particular issue. And they also, when we talk of the walls, it means they will take investigations to the kitchen where food is prepared for the students, and also go to their laboratories and that their dormitories to also monitor events there. So every part of this campus will be investigated.
Now, Ohiming, did you find out they do not know what disease this is? That's what pathologists are saying. How do they know what antibiotics to prescribe?
They say that the information that they have gotten now, they suspect is bacteria, and this type of bacteria is still not known, so that they are still investigating, but they believe strongly that when they apply the broad spectrum antibiotics, it will go a long way to also make a difference.
Thank you very much, Ohiming Teria, joining us there from Kumasi. Now, the Health Minister, Kweku Agyeman has been addressing Parliament on some of these steps that his outfit is taking to address the situation. And our man on the ground is Joseph Opoku-Kakpo, who joins us on the line. Joseph, what has Mr. Agyeman been saying?
He's been giving a background to the case, indicating that so far 46 cases have been brought to their attention. There are 13 of them who are still on admission. He puts the death toll at 3 since November 29, and that some 19 others have been treated and discharged. He told MPs that the infection is not a viral one. So far, a number of measures have been rolled out, which they've spent about 100,000 cedis on. Currently, he says the Director General of the Ghana Health Service is on the campus as they continue their investigations. He told MPs that the school will not be closed down for now, but then one of the measures that they are taking is that when it comes to the suspected case that's leading to the death, the school has a clinic which sees an average of 60 cases a day and is able to help handle very minimal health incidents. But then they've directed that any such suspicion that comes shouldn't be handled at the clinic, but then it should be referred directly to the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology Hospital, so that then they can ensure effectiveness when it comes to the treatment. He also told MPs that one of the things that they are doing is that they are not allowing parents to take their children away from the school, especially because they don't know what is causing the disease. And even for those who are on admission at the hospital, they are keeping them. But then one of the moves is that for anyone who wants to move their children from the school or from the KNUST hospital, you would have to sign an undertaking and detail where exactly you are taking them. He told MPs that they are increasing surveillance, they are administering antibiotics to the students, and those are some of the measures that they're putting in place to avoid any further death from the strange disease.
So that means that if parents adhere to the rules, the lay-down procedures he's given, they'll be free to remove their children from the school?
He's insisting that that is not the first option in terms of how they want to deal with this. In fact, he thinks that the move by parents to move their children from the school is a public health danger that all should watch out for, because they can't be too sure what disease they would be taking into the communities. But in extreme cases, when that becomes necessary, that's the indication that he's giving, that if they are being moved from the hospitals, then they would require very strict measures and detailed documentation on wherever the children are being taken to. There have been responses from MPs to the updates that he's been giving them. Robert Kungap Nalem, who is actually the Deputy Minority Spokesperson on Health, has been making the point that he thinks that there is a breakdown of confidence in the health system to a certain extent, particularly when it comes to the management of this disease, which is how come we've seen situations of parents wanting to take their children away and parents not being convinced about the measures that have been put in place to contain the situation. So he thinks that's something that should be fixed as soon as possible. There should be increased communication when it comes to what is being done to deal with the situation, so that then there is less panic on the part of the population.
Right, Joseph. Initially, when we first heard of the illnesses in Kumasi Academy, we understand that some samples were sent to Noguchi for testing. Is there any update on that given by the minister?
Well, he indicates that a lot of the research into what exactly led to this is still ongoing. Those are details that he's still putting together, and he hopes to update MPs on that subsequently. But what he indicates they can say for sure is that it's not the meningitis disease. As to what exactly has caused the death, they are still working on getting to the bottom of it. Thank you very much, Joseph Opoku-Kakpo, who is our man in Parliament, for bringing us that update. Health Minister Kweku Agyeman addressing the House there. Now, to other issues now, when commuters using the Accra-bound lane of the Tema motorway were left stranded in traffic as a personnel of the Ghana National Fire Service and the Road Safety Management Limited worked to tow a gas tanker that had turned over in the median of the 19-kilometer stretch. The tanker, which crashed near the Accra section of the toll booth Wednesday morning, caused a panic among motorists and forced them to divert their routes in the opposite direction. Traffic on both stretches was jammed for a couple of hours, creating a lot of confusion among commuters. Joe News' Maxwell Agbagba was there and now reports.
We're currently here at the Tema motorway, where a gas tanker has actually turned over on its sides here. We have personnel from the Ghana National Fire Service trying to control the situation right now. But this has caused some kind of gridlock on the westbound section of the motorway. So for vehicles moving to the Central Business District, have to move a bit slower now. A section of the road has also been cordoned off just to provide some safety to commuters who are heading to the Central Business District. Some moments ago, a towing vehicle just arrived here on the scene and is ready to tow the gas tanker away. On a regular day, you cannot be standing in the middle of the Tema motorway, but that has happened now as both sections of the road have been closed to traffic. Vehicles moving to the Central Business District, and for those moving eastwards towards the Tema and its environs are unable to move.
My name is Gio2 Samuel Obodati, the Regional Operations Officer, Tema. Here there's guard content in it. We have ensured that the valve is shut. We have also the tube that actually we have, we have actually discharged it, make sure that there's no gas in the tube. And then we have also disconnected the battery terminal. There's no power actually with the vehicle. We have ensured all leakages, so there's no leakage on the vehicle at the moment. And then at the moment we can see that we have the towing vehicle here to tow it, and we ensure that we protect it, make sure that there's no leakage. We have also diverted the road in a way that there will not be any problem. So there's no problem at the moment. What's the leakage? Yes, but we managed to work on it. We apply foam compound to make sure that we blanket the whole place, not to have any problem, so that we don't have any naked light coming through it.
The westbound section of the Tema motorway has been temporarily closed. All these vehicles heading to the Central Business District would have to wait for the vehicle to be towed before they can move. That has created some gridlock at the tail end of this motorway.
In traffic for almost about 15 minutes now. And then see, I'll have some place to go, but there's a lot of traffic around this area. So I don't know how to move and get to the place very quickly. So maybe if you can open the road a little for us to, when the traffic is jammed, then we can know how to do.
Still watching Joy News today. Now, officers of the Electricity Company of Ghana in Kaneshie, Achimota, Korle Bu and Dansoman were thronged by hundreds of frustrated customers who were unable to buy prepaid units from third-party vendors. The scene at the Avena office of the company is no different as customers expressed their dissatisfaction with the services being provided by the company. ECG told customers it was facing some network challenges which prevented them from serving them with credit since December 1. I earlier visited the Avena office to see for myself how customers are coping with the situation.
This same lot of land has the Kaneshie District Office of the ECG. It has the Accra West Regional Office of the ECG, and I am currently standing in front of the Customer Service Center, which shares the plot of land with these two major offices. For any frustrated customer, this should be the best place to get solutions, perhaps save the headquarters of the ECG. However, this small building you can see behind me has a number of people crammed in there trying to get power to buy. They have been told that by the ECG that this is a problem that is currently prevalent in the Korle Bu districts, the Kaneshie district, the Dansoman district, and there are a number of other districts that have the same issue. Customers have been unable to buy power since the 1st of December, and you can imagine how frustrated they have been. A number of them have spoken to Joy News, and some of them have even threatened to use illegal connections in their homes if they are unable to buy power.
They said they are checking our cards. There are errors, so they will sort the errors out. Then you have to go back home, show it to your meter, and come back. We've done that 3 times, some of them 4 times, and still not happening. And now, you just came, you brought police people to just push us out. We say we are not going out. You have to kill us. We are not going out. It's no fault of ours. For 4 days.
The amount of revenue that ECG collects they shouldn't find it difficult trying to retrieve certain, right, trying to restore certain problems for us. Because we make a lot of income. It's a monopolistic company. So I'm thinking the amount of revenue they have. We are here and it's only one computer that's working to serve a whole number of people. You could see the number of it. It's just only one computer that is working. How possible? Whilst there should be more than 5 computers with people with intellect sitting behind it just to solve our problem for us. What they are doing is
if I cannot access light today, I'm going to connect it illegally. Yeah, that is light is in my house, not that there's no light. If I cannot get prepaid to buy, I'm going to connect it illegally.
They should privatize ECG. Government should privatize ECG because it's as if that the government institution they are being dormant. No.
Me, I'll just speak a little. The government, the ECG over there, the government, in fact, cannot handle the issue well. This problem will rise and rise and rise and rise. The main thing right now is that they should sell it to a private company, so that the one who is not doing his job well will be forced to do his job well, so that it will not affect ordinary Ghanaian or will not affect any Ghanaian at all.
Now, speaking to us earlier on News Desk, the Public Relations Officer for the Accra West region of the ECG, Eric Asante, assured customers that they can now buy prepaid from any of their district offices, except that they are still working on some challenges with managing the queues.
The network has been able to be opened by our IT experts, but the number of queue we have to grapple with has made it impossible for us to serve all the customers as a goal. As I speak, a long queue still at our customer service centers, and we need to double up our game. I've heard even some customers saying that why should we still be serving with one cashier and just a computer? We need to at least look at it from situation where we put up more computers to be able to serve the customers as fast as we can. But luckily enough, the network is now on, and we need to also manually put some information onto the server so that those who bought from the 1st November to the 15th can be now served, and they are not turned up to the circle area at the behind the VIP to be served. But for now, we are able to serve the customers at the pace. It's a network problem. What we need to do is, first of all, we need to make sure we get a bigger server that could be able to serve the number of customers we have. No matter the situation, we should be able to serve the customers irrespective of the number of customers at a particular point in time buying the units, because there are jams when you get this number of people trying to buy at a particular point in time. We need to get a bigger server, and again, there's need to also get a backup where the information that you need to use, or sometimes there's a need to serve customers manually offline and later reload onto the network for them to be able.
Now, away from issues to do with the ECG, some residents living at Weija Mile 11 say they are feeling unsafe after 2 men who own a shop there were shot and robbed by some attackers. Some of the residents say the robbers hid in a nearby bush before committing the dastardly act. Some of the residents who have been speaking to Joy News say they have experienced numerous attacks in the recent past, and they want the security agents to do something about the situation. Joy News' Maxwell Agbagba has been engaging some of the residents.
We are not safe. Talking of robbery and other things that is going on here, we are not safe. You can't walk around 10, 11 to 12. You'll be attacked by these guys around. It's about 2 months ago, about 3 ladies were raped here, where they were from town coming, and they got attacked and they were raped. Before this coming Thursdays, 2 weeks, 2 people was just shot around here. So we're not saved.
They were shot where?
They were shot in this shop.
What exactly happened?
What happened is that the guy closed around 11:30 going home. So when he got to the junction, there he remembers his phone. So the two of them came back to pick the phone. Immediately he opened the shop, enters. These two guys were covered, faces came with gun, and he was attacked and then they were shot. By then, so in fact, we're not safe here. We're not safe here. When we get to Christmas, especially when it's 2 months to Christmas, then these guys will be coming around. We hear the certain shop were break into. Even just this place, they were breaking it into about 3-4 times. Before the later one, the guy was shot. So this is just what is going on here. All around this place to the broadcasting top. We are not safe. We're not safe at all. And we were saying, you see these bushes around, this gets them a place to hide. So if all these landlords will come in and then get clears of the area will be open. The police will come and then guide us. We need them in the evenings. Because if not so, then you can't go any place. When you are working in town and you close late in the night, you are afraid of coming home.
One of the men who was shot rushed from that distance very close to the Afriyie Hospital to this garage here, where he carefully went under this big gate right here. If you get closer to this gate, you can still see the stains of blood on the wall, and then on the gate itself here inside the garage.
Now, this place is not secure because the armed robbers, and they rape some people, they tag them, they collect their phones and stuff like that. So now, my level is not secure. Because we need police to come and patrol here every evening or all the time.
And you don't have that? You know,
no, we don't have anybody. We talk to the assemblyman, so we'll go and see the ACC police people, then they come and help them. But still now, by 5:30, by 6, I left here, everybody closed. Then we left here.
Why?
Yeah, because of the incident. Because I don't know, I want this to go to, what do you call it, High Commission for Police. Then if every night around 9 o'clock or 9:30, I mean, you give some patrol team, then they come around to patrol this area.
We're still live on Joy News today. Just gone by, medical officers unsure of the cause of death of 4 students of the Kumasi Academy. They describe reports of first autopsy on the 4 bodies as unusual. And hundreds of commuters were locked up in traffic on the Accra-Tema bound lane of the Tema-Accra bound lane of the motorway after a gas tanker crashed into the median this morning, leaking its content. And still to come, former Sports Minister Afriyie Ankrah breaks his silence on why he kept the Zoomlion company contract instead of cancelling it as directed by the then President John Dramani Mahama. Details shortly after this. Stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. Now, former Youth and Sports Minister Afriyie Ankrah has broken his silence on his controversial involvement in government's re-engagement of Zoomlion, a subsidiary of the Jospon Group of companies, to keep the country clean. Responding to questions as regards his failure to cancel the contract the government had with Zoomlion in 2015, the former minister said he was in no position to act at the time the committee's report was issued. Investigations carried out by Joy News in 2016 unraveled how a waste management contract with a company, which then President Mahama had instructed termination, was not cut. Now, this led to an accumulation of debt to the tune of 400 million cedis due the company as management services. Mr. Ankrah has in the past been blamed for this debt as it was perceived he failed to carry out the instructions of the president. Speaking on the Super Morning Show on Joy 99.7 FM this morning, the former minister said he acted based on advice from the Attorney General.
By the time the report came out and the directives came, and even as we were implementing it, the JIDA program was in transition. It had moved to the Ministry of Employment and Labor Relations. So I no longer had a locus and a mandate I hope you understand me. By the time the committees reported, because a decision had been taken that let's take this from the Ministry of Youth and Sports and send it to the Ministry of Employment and Labor Relations. So by the time all these things happen, during a transition, they had appointed, I think, Kobe Champon as the JIDA boss, and he was to see to the implementation of all these things. And then it had moved to the Ministry of Employment and Labor Relations. So, really, there was nothing I could do.
So, at the time that the Attorney General was advising you, the institution was not under your ministry anymore?
It was in transition. Because, as I said, right from the time that the report was issued, a decision had been taken that this thing should move from the Ministry of Youth and Sports to the Ministry of Employment.
So were you or were you not in a position to act on the Attorney General's advice at the time the advice was given to you in that letter? Were you in a position to act on the advice?
Which we did. The advice is here.
Yes.
It says, so let it continue. The advice is clear. So let it continue till 2015. Okay? Let it continue till 2015. Then, by that 2015, it had moved from the ministry.
Now, Australian High Commissioner to Ghana, Andrew Barnes, has highlighted the importance of a Rights to Information bill. He has prompted government to immediately act on the passing on this bill. He says, though there are some sections of the bill which require careful scrutiny and attention by government, those sections are not rocket science, and so it should not have taken so long for this bill to be passed.
I think that the Right to Information bill is a very important part of a government's anti-corruption framework. It's a very important tool for the public to have. It improves transparency and accountability within government, and in fact most Western developed modern countries do have a Right to Information bill, and it is a very important part of good governance. I think that the government really has to give it priority. It would be a very good signal both to the international community and to the people of Ghana that the government was taking corruption seriously if they did pass the bill. It's been languishing in debate now for just too long. It's not rocket science, as we say. It's been done, and it is done in lots of other countries. So it's not a question of groundbreaking legislation. There are many examples of this functioning around the world already that the government could draw on to look at how to implement it. But when the Right to Information law is passed, the bill is passed into law, it's important also that the legislation is backed up with enabling regulations so that it can be effective as well. That's very important. It's no good if the bill is introduced and passed if it's not accessible and if it can't be within the grasp of the ordinary Ghanaian citizen.
Now, moving on, she has been described by her friends and teachers as an intelligent child. It is her dream to become a doctor one day, but that dream is gradually fading away as the children's ward of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, where 6-year-old Joy Cranting has been on admission. Little Joy has been battling acute myeloid leukemia, AML, a type of cancer characterized by the rapid growth of abnormal white blood cells that build up in the bone marrow and interfere with the production of normal blood cells. Joy's family is desperately in need of about $50,000 to get a cure for her in South Africa. Joy News' Maxwell Agbagba has more in this report.
I am on the 3rd floor of the children's ward at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. I've met the mother of little Joy. She has been staying at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital since her daughter was admitted at the medical facility. Inside the oncology ward of the hospital, the little girl lies on her sick bed. Her sister stands some distance away from her with her mouth and nose covered as doctors have advised, because Joy's condition has made it easier for her to pick up infections. Her mother sits in a plastic chair on the corridor of the hospital as she narrates to me how the 6-year-old girl's leukemia started.
Getting to 3 months now. about 2.5 months ago when she started having fevers. Like any child would sometimes have some bodily pains, and so we thought, okay, we should go to the hospital. And after the first line of treatment, it seemed she was getting better, and so we went back home, only to rush back to the emergency because now her fever was not settling at all. We had to be admitted, and they treated her for infections, which we know that children are prone to. So for about 2 weeks, we were on admission at the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital.
Joy's mother tells me she has already spent lots of money in the treatment process.
Only to rush back again. You know, because they are prone to infection, the doctors need always to treat or prescribe medication to treat the infections that they have. And sometimes nothing would work except the very costly antibiotics. And sometimes just prescription for 5 days is over 300 Ghana cedis. And so if we multiply only that by 3 months, I'm sure, you know, just about 350 Ghana cedis times 3 months. I'm sure you can guess how much we have spent on just one type of antibiotics. Joy is going to be 7 on the 15th of December. And that's something on her mind. Sometimes, you know, even though she tries to show a brave face, sometimes the question comes up, she will ask me, Mommy, so am I still going to be here in the hospital when it's my birthday? And sometimes I just don't know what to say, because really I can't tell.
Joy's mother no longer has joy in her heart as she watches her daughter grow lame by the day. She's appealing for support.
It just hit us with that news that this particular kind of leukemia would require treatment, proper treatment, full treatment outside the country at a cost of at least $50,000. I'm sure you can imagine how I felt there and then. How was I ever going to raise $50,000? And if Kolibu couldn't handle it, and we couldn't raise the money, I mean, that was just like a death sentence for my lovely little girl. I mean, that girl is just, you know, she's just a delight to be with. Anybody who comes into contact with her, you know, just loves her. My prayer is that the kind people of Ghana would donate so that as soon as possible we can head to South Africa, which the consultants and the team of doctors here recommend, so that she can have the full treatment and come back very well, very healthy, so that life can continue.
And this is where we wrap up today's bulletin of Joy News Today. I am Daniel Daze. For more news, log on to myjoyonline.com.